We're in a back bedroom on the second floor of the house, and I have been working with the project, taking black and white photos to document some of the things that they have found as they've been uncovering parts of the house that you usually never see. And this is one of those parts of the house, because in this bedroom they have removed the top flooring and the subflooring, so we're seeing the structure of the floor here, and then we're also seeing the top of the ceiling for the room down below us. And these beams, as you can see, they're very large beams, and they would have been hewn by hand. They would not have had the power tools that we have today, and so you can see either the axe or adze marks, depending on what tool they were using, right here, where they did the best they could to smooth out the wood. They knew no one was going to see this, so they didn't need to make it perfectly smooth, but they needed to have it roughly square so they could work with it. If you look at this beam, you can see up and down saw marks. And that probably would have been done with a pit saw, where you had a pit, a man down below with half of the saw, and somebody up above. So they would be sawing up and down. And it was considerably later that you would have started seeing circular saw marks, where you'd see a round one. So that's one good way to sort of see how old your house is, or how old parts of it are, is to look at what the saw marks look like. Well, this is a good area because we're seeing several different layers. Here we've got the underlayment for the floor. The floorboards themselves are already gone and out of the way. But just notice how wide this pine board is. You'd have to special order something like that today. But back then, because they still had old growth forest and much larger trees to work with, very wide boards were not uncommon. There are a lot of them in this house. Here we've got a mortise and tenon. You can see that they notched that this board, this beam is much longer, and then they cut away a good part of it, leaving a tongue in the center. And then that tongue actually sticks. They made a corresponding hole in this beam, and that tongue actually sticks right in here. And they would have to hand fit all of them, because you have to make sure that it fits really well. And to make sure that they, after they took all their measurements, that they matched up the right thing, they would mark them. In this case, they made a Roman numeral 5, and there's a corresponding 5 right here. So they would know that this piece goes to this point, and here you've got the 2, and 2 right here. And so you know these 2 pieces go together. And then here you can see the top of the peg that goes down through, and that's what actually keeps them together to make sure that this doesn't slide out. It's a lot like detective work in that you're looking at all sorts of clues as to how a house was made. And this particular house, we know exactly when it was built. A lot of houses you don't know when they're built. So you're looking at all the clues and trying to figure out when the house was built, whether it was added onto. So I think I enjoy trying to put all the pieces together to figure something out and understand how things were back then.